The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. A much quieter day yesterday. No pop-up thunderstorms around the county. Beloved sportscaster Vin Scully passed away last night at the age of 94.
And tributes coming in from all over the sports world. And as our Taylor Schaub joins us with more on the loss of the man that so many loved.
Good morning, Maddie and Alex. For most, it's impossible to remember a time when Vin Scully wasn't a soothing part of our lives, introducing the boys of summer to several generations as the legendary voice of the Dodgers. Scully possessed an innate gift that transcended broadcasting and humanized the games he vividly painted from behind the mic. He was also incredibly modest and would have likely been humbled by the vast amount of reverential treatments and tributes coming his way throughout the night and early morning. Here's a look back at the life and times of a once-in-a-generational man and talent.
Hi everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you wherever you may be.
Not many have commanded language or put simple phrases to such magical use. Vin Scully's gift for communication appealed to all generations, and even those who didn't like sports listened and revered him. Scully never took himself too seriously or spoke over our heads, instead inviting us on journeys made possible by a prodigious life and indelible memories. Vin Scully grew up in New York as, believe it or not, a hardcore Giants fan. He began calling games as a student at Fordham University and soon caught the ear of the Dodgers' legendary broadcaster, Red Barber, who brought the 23-year-old into the Brooklyn booth. It was 1950 when radio still ruled and broadcasters preferred projection over personality. Soon television would take over as the dominant transmission tool, and Scully, for the rest of his career, would move seamlessly between the two mediums.
0-2.
With his effortless smile, comforting voice, and yes, those stories, Scully helped transform a simple game into a visceral metaphor, one envisioning decency and the promise of something better. If that's not a gift, it's hard to imagine what is. Now, Maddie and Alex, I think Vin Scully would have loved this. The Dodgers beat the Giants, their rivals, 9-5 last night in San Francisco, and the monitors inside Oracle Park displaying this image of Vin last night, announcing the news of his passing. Scully called his last game as a broadcaster back in 2016 in San Francisco, and there's a plaque honoring Vin inside Oracle Park. All right, reactions continuing to pour in this morning as we all collectively mourn. Back to you at the desk.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scully's impact was felt far beyond the confines of Chavez Ravine. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti tweeted, "Vin Scully's passing is the end of a chapter of our city's history. He united us, inspired us, and showed us all what it means to serve. Our city hall will be lit up for you tomorrow, Vin, our dear friend, the voice of LA. Thank you from a grateful and loving city."
Fellow LA sports icon and current Dodgers team co-owner Magic Johnson tweeting, "I'll always remember his smooth broadcasting style. He had a voice and a way of storytelling that made you think he was only talking to you. Vin was the nicest and sweetest man outside of the booth."
And current Laker LeBron James tweeting, quote, "Rest in power, a City of Angels icon, another great one who made sports so special." And I have to say, I woke up this morning to the news and just, kind of reflecting on years of listening to him, growing up listening to Vin. And I think what was so amazing about Vin Scully is 67 years of broadcasting for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you have to realize 67 years of broadcasting, he was able to bring generations together. And so I have memories of listening to my grandpa talk about listening to Vin Scully as a kid and as a young adult. And so I think that a lot of people are reflecting on those moments as well. Now to news across the world, and international tensions are growing this morning as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wrapped up her controversial trip to Taiwan.
Yeah, she is the highest-ranking U.S. official to travel to the island in the last 25 years, testing the already strained relationship between China and the U.S. Jay Gray's on Capitol Hill now with a closer look at what she's doing in Taiwan and the fallout from the visit.
Good morning, Alex. Good morning, Maddie. Despite Taiwan's independent government, China still considers Taiwan a territory and warns there will be, quote, serious consequences as a result of Speaker Pelosi's visit, a trip threatening Washington's already shaky relationship with its biggest political and economic rival.
Protect our people as well as global security.
Speaker Pelosi in a different house overnight, meeting with members of parliament and Taiwan's president as she wraps up her brief and controversial visit to the Chinese-claimed but self-ruled island.
America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad. And we're grateful to the partnership of the people of Taiwan in this mission.
The speaker's unannounced but not so secret stop confirmed in lights on Taipei's tallest building as she arrives, and with a show of support from an unlikely source.
I think it's important that the speaker did go to Taiwan. I don't think the Chinese get to tell members of Congress where they can go.
Beijing's response, a squadron of fighter jets buzzing the Taiwan Strait where China is conducting intense live-fire military exercises. Taiwan officials also say government offices have been hit by cyber attacks just a week after Chinese President Xi Jinping, during a phone call with President Biden, warned those who play with fire over Taiwan will perish from it. The White House, initially opposed to the trip, now says the president respects Pelosi's decision while pushing back on the Chinese show of force.
We are prepared to manage what Beijing chooses to do. At the same time, we will not engage in saber rattling.
Though it may take a saber to cut through the growing tension between the two superpowers. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. Kern County residents will soon have a third option when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines. Public health officials confirmed yesterday the Novavax vaccine is currently being shipped to clinics across Kern County. The vaccine will be given in 2 doses and administered 21 days apart. It will provide patients with a protein-based alternative to the mRNA-based shots from Pfizer and Moderna. Kern public health officials said on their website yesterday that it will be updated to include the locations offering the Novavax vaccine by early next week. Public health officials yesterday morning announced 1,110 new positive cases of COVID-19 and no new deaths due to the virus. State data shows we have 98 patients hospitalized locally with the virus, 17 in intensive care units. We are approaching another grim milestone in the fight against COVID-19, with nearly 2,500 deaths attributed to the virus here in Kern County.
5:37 is our time now, and 17 News is your local election headquarters. And a new poll finds many Americans will vote in the midterm elections based on access to abortions. The Kaiser Family Foundation surveyed more than 1,800 adults online and by telephone from July 7th to the 17th of this year. 55% say access to abortion is essential to their vote in November's midterm elections, and that is up 9% since February, prior to the Supreme Court's decision to end the constitutional right to an abortion. The increased interest is greatest among Democratic voters, where 77% now say abortion access is very important. That is up from 50% in February.
This notion was shown nationally yesterday as Kansas voters have successfully rejected a measure that would have allowed the Republican-controlled legislature to tighten abortion restrictions or ban the procedure outright. Yesterday's vote was the first test of voters' feelings about abortion since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade back in June. Voters rejected a change in the Kansas Constitution to ensure that it does not grant a right to an abortion so that legislators could regulate it as they see fit.
Now to news around town, and CSU Bakersfield is welcoming Dr. Audie Williams to discuss a black sports pioneer with roots right here in Bakersfield. Dr. Audie Williams is brother of Art Williams, baseball's first black National League umpire. Audie will be coming to campus to talk about his newly released book, which covers the life and legacy of Art Williams. It is happening tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at the Stockdale Room, located inside the Runner Cafe.
A reminder, here at KGET, we're teaming up with the Open Door Network, formerly known as the Bakersfield Homeless Center, to send kids back to school with all the supplies they need. We're asking for basic school supplies like backpacks, notebooks, pens, and pencils, as well as new socks and underwear for boys, girls, and teens. Now through August 12th, you can drop off donations at our station located at 22nd and L Streets in downtown Bakersfield.
And the Blessing Corner is hosting a back-to-school drive as well. It is happening Friday, August 5th from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30. in the afternoon. It's happening at the Blessing Corner on Union Avenue. Backpacks and school supplies will be given to school-age children in attendance. There will also be a free health resource fair with immunizations, dental check, physicals, and health screenings.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.